Good morning, students. In continuation with the eukaryotic replication part 2, we have already discussed how the replication complex formed and how initiation starts and what are the different modes of replication and what is proved experimentally. We have already discussed all these things. Before we go into the actual phenomena of elongation, some of the points we have to discuss for initiation, because it is the continuation of DNA replication. So first stage of initiation has been completed, so we need to continue elongation and termination. So stages, there are 3 stages: initiation, elongation and termination in the process of replication or in the mechanism of replication. And we have already, in some other video, we have already discussed how the replication starts and what are all the enzymes that are helpful in the process of replication. That has been discussed in a separate video lesson, and we have also discussed the initiation and the complete mechanism of replication in case of prokaryotes. Now in eukaryotes, we have discussed up to initiation, and let us move on to elongation and termination. So before we actually enter into the process or phenomena of elongation, we need to brush up some of the points of initiation. So let us go through it. So initiation, during initiation, proteins bind to the origin of replication, as you all know, and while helicase unwinds the DNA, and pre-replication complex is formed during G1 phase, and that will continue the activation of pre-replication complex by CDK and DDK enzymes in S phase of cell cycle. How cell cycle regulates, that also has been discussed. So replication process actually initiates in G1 phase and proceeds in S phase. So G1 phase of the cell cycle, there are low levels of CDK protein activity. That is why the initiation complex is formed. This allows for the formation of new pre-RC complexes. So pre-replication complexes has to form during G1 phase, and during the remaining phases of the cell cycle, the elevated levels of CDK activity will be there, and that will inhibit the new pre-RC formation. That is why already pre-RC are formed in G1 phase, and that will continue and proceed in the S phase, and the process of replication will complete. So this all has been discussed. So the RFC, that is replication factor C, recognizes the primer template junction and load pCNA, that is proliferating cell nuclear antigen, and at these sites. So in this diagram you can see the replication fork and how the sliding clamp ladder, that is pCNA, and RF complex, that is replication factor, how it gets loaded on the DNA, double stranded DNA, or in the replication fork. So in this diagram you can see the double stranded DNA, CDT1, MCMS, ORCs, and CDC6. So all these factors, they unite together and form the complex structure. topoisomerases are another enzyme that is responsible for removing the supercoils ahead of replication fork, because due to helicase activity, continuously removal of or unwinding of DNA will create the supercoiling in the ahead of replication fork. So this will make the tension will create the tension in the double helix due to continuous unwinding. On other side, one side it will get unwounded, the other side it will increase the twist and increase the tension. So topoisomerase is another enzyme which will release the tension, and polymerase alpha is associated with the RNA primase synthesizing a primer of 10 to 20 nucleotide stretch of RNA. Pol A for priming synthesis and elongation of the newly formed primer with the nucleotides. So polymerase A is always associated with the enzyme that is primase, which will provide a primer. Then DNA polymerase will add the nucleotides to the primer. So the progress of the replication fork in the eukaryotes maintained by helicase activity. The separated polynucleotide are prevented from reattracting by SSB proteins. So in this diagram you can see the green color spherical molecules attached to the single stranded DNA. So both the DNAs are templates, and both the DNAs has to undergo replication, and that has to be protected. So with the arrow mark, the movement of helicase is indicated, and so the movement of helicase will be the movement of direction of replication also, and in the same direction of movement of helicase molecule, leading strand will also proceed. So always along with the DNA polymerase alpha polymerase primase is also associated, which will provide the primer for the elongation, that is continuation of the replication. Along with that, the single stranded molecule, that is DNA single strands, has to be maintained stability. So to maintain the stability of the single stranded DNA for replication, some proteins molecules bind to that, attached to the single stranded DNA. So in the green circles it is shown in the diagram. So on both the sides of the DNA strand, these molecules are attached, and they will maintain the single stranded DNA molecule for replication. So to give stability to the single stranded, because the single stranded DNA is unstable, and that will again rejoin with each other, that will create the problem for replication. So to avoid that problem, these molecules will come and bind to the single stranded DNA, and they will facilitate the continuous synthesis of DNA replication. So the elongation process, once priming function is done on the leading strand, that will continuously DNA polymerase will continuously add the new nucleotides, and it will synthesize continuously, and the direction of progression of the replication fork will be the direction of synthesis of leading strand. But the case is opposite, the phenomena is just opposite, in opposite direction in case of lagging strand. So the direction of helicase activity, the direction of fork progression, and the direction of leading strand synthesis will be same. But on the lagging strand, opposite template, the priming function will form the Okazaki fragment, and as soon as it bumps into the primer that is residing, DNA polymerase will stop the synthesis of adding the new nucleotides. Now it needs another primer to initiate another fragment of DNA on the lagging strand. So RNA primer, that is newly formed, again the primase enzyme will provide a primer on the other side, which is single stranded DNA. Then it will again start the addition of new nucleotides to the RNA primer, and it will proceed in the opposite direction. So the direction of synthesis will be 5' to 3' only, but because these are the antiparallel strands, DNA molecule is in which the two strands will be in the antiparallel position. So one strand will be running from 5' to the 3' direction, the other will be again 5' to 3' but in opposite in direction. So in this way, in the form of fragments on the lagging strand, for every fragment one DNA primer is needed, and it will synthesize, add the new nucleotides, and then as soon as it bumps into the preceding primer, it will stop the addition. So again it will move to the next step where the single stranded DNA is available. Then it is takes a new primase molecule will provide a new primer, and then again it will start the addition of new nucleotides. So in this way, for every fragment on the that means lagging strand, one primer is needed, and that much nucleotides will be added to form the fragment. So whatever the length of the DNA is available, it will add in the form of fragments on the lagging strand. So these fragmented or discontinuous synthesis of DNA molecule on the on the other strand, or discontinuous synthesis of the DNA strand, is called as lagging strand, and these fragments of the lagging strand are called as Okazaki fragments. So the leading strand synthesis starts with the primase activity of DNA polymerase A to lace down an RNA primer. Then the DNA polymerase components of Pol A adds a stretch of DNA. So replication for factor complex assembles pCNA at the end of the primer, and pCNA displaces DNA polymerase A. DNA polymerase delta and epsilon binds to pCNA at the 3' end of the growing strand to carry out highly processive DNA synthesis. Leading strand synthesis. The DNA polymerase A can extend the initial RNA primer with about 20 nucleotides of DNA, but not capable of lengthy synthesis. So after that, DNA polymerase delta recognizes this primer and begins leading strand synthesis in 5' to 3' direction. So that you can see in this diagram, priming of DNA synthesis in bacteria and eukaryotes. It is combinedly explained here. So you can see this the RNA primer has provided a primer, and then this primase enzyme, and that will followed by the that is addition of new nucleotides. That is new DNA strand is indicated with blue color strand, which is done by DNA polymerase 3. So in case of eukaryotes, the same function will take place. The single stranded DNA in eukaryotes, that is primer is added at the 3' end, because the newly synthesizing strand will be opposite in direction, that is 5' to 3' synthesis has to take place. That is once the primer is provided, DNA polymerase alpha will add the approximately 20 nucleotides to the DNA primer, and after that alpha cannot proceed. That is why it will polymerase delta will identify the site, and it will continue the addition of new nucleotides to the growing chain of DNA polymerase DNA by DNA polymerase delta. So this is how the continuous synthesis of leading strand will take place in eukaryotes. So initially 15 to 20 nucleotides will be added by DNA polymerase alpha, and that cannot be continuous further in the leading strand. For that reason, DNA polymerase delta will identify the site, and it will bind to the site, and it will continuously add the new nucleotides on the leading strand. But in case of lagging strand, that discontinuous synthesis that can be done in the by the polymerase alpha. The RNA primers synthesized by the DNA polymerase alpha in the 5' to 3' direction. The DNA polymerase delta will synthesize the short fragments of DNA called Okazaki fragments, which are added to the 3' end of the primer. The completion of the lagging strand synthesis requires the removal of RNA primer from each Okazaki fragment. To solve this problem, there are two models for the completion of lagging strand synthesis in the eukaryotes, and described as RNase H model and the flap model. So on the lagging strand, because discontinuous synthesis takes place, so RNase H model, because on the lagging strand due to discontinuous synthesis, there will be many RNA fragments on the lagging strand that has to be removed, and in place of that new nucleotides has to be formed, and those nucleotides will be added by RNA polymerase 1, and in even after that the gaps will be left. So for that synthesis, the two possible models are there, that is RNase H model. So in place of Okazaki fragment, how they are replaced by nucleotides. So one model is RNase H model, and the other model is flap model. So in case of RNase H model, it is RNase H will go and bind to the site where the Okazaki, that is RNA primer, is situated, and it will remove the primer up to the last nucleotide. So up to the last nucleotide, because the process will take place with the accuracy up to the single nucleotide. So this is done by RNase H, which will remove the primer, and up to the last nucleotide it will maintain the accuracy. Then FEN1 removes the last ribonucleotide plus some of the DNA. So again, DNA ligase will bind to the two DNA fragments. So in the place of primer, the gap is left, and that gap is sealed by the ligase that links the two DNA fragments. So this is how the elongation, after the elongation, the removal of RNA primers will take place, and the remaining part of this topic we will continue in the part 3 of the replication in eukaryotes.